Hello, my name is Michael Glenn, and today I will be giving my presentation, Stem Cell Therapy, a Light for Alzheimer's Patients. As many of you may have personal experience with, Alzheimer's is a devastating thing to live with. It's a devastating thing for family members to have. I would like to preface this presentation by saying that this is going to be a very serious topic, one that I hold dear, and I'm sure one many of you hold dear. It may be triggering for some of you, so I would advise those of you to please listen to a different presentation. We are going to get into some very serious topics today. I would also like to preface this by thanking the artist William Untermolen. He was an American artist who was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 1996. And you can see in this art in the first slide, for those of you who may not have experience with family members with Alzheimer's, you can see the lack of self-recognition and the destruction of memory and cognition that follows with it. It is a very devastating disease. He stopped painting in 2000 and he passed away in 2006. So for those of you who are still pondering what exactly Alzheimer's is, and I know for even me, I'm not sure. I was not sure exactly what Alzheimer's entailed. Alzheimer's is known as a neurodegenerative disease. That means that, as you can see in the picture in the top right, that the structure of the brain breaks down to an extent: cognition, memory, emotion, all these aspects of normal psychology break down, usually in old age. Usually over the age of 65 is when Alzheimer's is diagnosed. It progresses in stages. You can see that there is a preclinical stage, a mild stage, a moderate stage, and a severe stage. This disease was first described by the German psychiatrist and neuropathologist Alois Alzheimer in 1906. You can see this woman in the bottom right. Her name is Augusta Detter. She was diagnosed in 1902 and died 4 years later of a disease that Alzheimer described as presenile dementia. This was also later coined by his contemporary, another German psychiatrist named Emil Kraepelin. He described it as Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's in the US and in every country in the world is the most common cause of dementia. Now, since antiquity, people have associated dementia with aging, and that is true, but Alzheimer's is not a normal part of the aging process. Dementia is not a normal part of aging. It is estimated that as of 2018, 46.8 million people worldwide are suffering from Alzheimer's, and over 122,000 deaths in the US were recorded from Alzheimer's in 2018 alone. The exact number is 122,019, and I'm sure there are many deaths that also go unrecorded. For a disease as prevalent as this, it would seem completely sensible that there would be a solution or some sort of cure, but there are methods to alleviate it. But Alzheimer's, as we currently understand it, is non-curable. It is a fatal disease. The average lifespan after diagnosis is anywhere between 3 and 9 years, though that can differ by a few years or two. There is no known cure to this disease, and it really is horrible to watch relatives and neighbors, community leaders and the elders go for slowly forgetting everyone and slowly forgetting themselves. Now, let us dive deeper into the causes of the Alzheimer's disease so we can see the solution a bit easier. The way it is understood, and it is not fully understood, but the way it is understood, Alzheimer's is caused by an excess of the amyloid beta peptides. Peptides obviously are just a bit shorter than proteins, anywhere between I believe 30 and 45 nucleic acids comprise this particular peptide, amyloid beta, and also tau proteins. Excess of amyloid beta peptides and tau proteins in the brain lead to a buildup of, in the case of amyloid beta, plaque, and in the case of tau proteins, what are called neurofibrillary tangles intracellular. These buildups of plaques and tangles do lead the brain to deteriorate its quality. The plaque buildup of the amyloid beta is due to protein, or in this case, peptide misfolding, which we did cover earlier in the course. Inside the cells, the tau proteins lead to neurofibrillary tangles. I covered that. And also associated with Alzheimer's disease, or AD, is a buildup of APOE, which is also known as a polypoprotein E, and alpha-synuclein, which is a presynaptic neuronal protein. The exact cause of this protein buildup is not widely known. We do know that amyloid beta is caused by a larger protein known as APP, but the exact cause of this is not known. There is a genetic component present. The presence of APOE4, which is a gene in the 19th chromosome in humans, the presence of that gene is shown as to be associated with a heightened risk of developing Alzheimer's disease later in life. The current treatments for Alzheimer's disease don't cure the disease, but they do mitigate the symptoms in the early onset stages of Alzheimer's. One of the most popular treatments is known as cholinesterase inhibitors, which are short for acetylcholinesterase inhibitors. They break down the acetylcholine in the neutrons into choline and acetate. This breakdown is associated with increased cognition in the central nervous system. So brands like Razidine, Exelon, and Aricept are known to be able to treat mild to moderate Alzheimer's disease. And very recently, actually this was only approved in 2003, but memantine may treat moderate to severe Alzheimer's disease and help decrease symptoms there. There are many brands, but the most popular for Alzheimer's is Namenda, which costs somewhere between $269 to $489 a month. There are caretaking facilities for those with dementia. This also includes Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and other diseases later in life when their relatives are not able to care for them. And hospice may help them in the last days of life for special needs, like the special foods they need and community bonding and helping go through this grief process with others who have the disease. For those who don't have Alzheimer's, which would hopefully be everybody in this audience, physical activity and mentally stimulated tasks like reading, doing math, learning a new language are supposedly associated with reducing the risk of Alzheimer's disease developing later in life. For a society that we live in today, one where populations are rapidly aging, birth rates decreasing, and one where the average American is not living a life as healthy as they would have lived only 10 years ago, I think that increased physical activity and mental activity is imperative, because Alzheimer's is only going to become more of a problem for more people in the future. This is the part where I bridge in my discussion of Alzheimer's with my discussion of stem cell therapies and try to unite them into one field. I'm going to give a primer on stem cell therapies. I know we've covered it earlier, but stem cells are types of cells that are undifferentiated. They differentiate, that is, turn into a different type, into different types of cells. They're the first in a cell lineage. For example, in embryos, stem cells may diverge into blood cells and muscles and neurons. So stem cells are very vital in new medicine being developed because they can lead to growth of new parts of the body or vitalize other parts of the body. Cells may be totipotent, which is when they form all kinds of cells, bacteria and everything. Pluripotent, where they form many different types of cells, including some germ cells. Multipotent, where they form a few different types of cells. And unipotent, where the stem cells form just one type of cell. Embryonic stem cells can be, or ESCs, can be developed from wart and jelly, which is in the umbilical cord fluid, placenta, the amniotic fluid, the umbilical cord blood, and many other types of neonatal, embryonic, and fetal development. It is also for this reason that for some lobbies, stem cell therapy is seen as controversial due to its connection to harvesting of fetal tissue. But stem cells aren't all like this. And I think this is something I need to stress, that in adults, it's called tissue-generated or somatic stem cells, bone marrow, liver tissue, adipose tissue, dental pulp, skeletal muscle, neural tissue, hearts, the skin, and intestine, all are viable spaces where some amount of stem cells can be harvested. And as I have stressed earlier, stem cell therapy and by extension regenerative therapy, which is very much overlaps, is one of the most rapidly growing fields of medical science and its intersection with bioengineering in the world right now. It's definitely one of the most exciting fields. As you can see on the right, there are many diseases that stem cells may be able to treat in the future: baldness, blindness, deafness, diabetes. And the one we're going to focus on today is how stem cells in the future may be able to treat Alzheimer's. Now, considering Alzheimer's is a disease of the brain, the kind of stem cells required are neural stem cells, or NSCs, derived from embryonic stem cells, which we've hit on are ESCs. So some neural stem cells from the neonatal, that is, newborn rat hippocampus, have been successfully harvested and differentiated into a rat brain of a rat with Alzheimer's. And when the scientists ran the rat through a course later, spatial function and memory did improve in this aged rat with Alzheimer's, which was a very promising sign. This was early in the 2000s, I believe, and it's only gotten better from there. Mouse-derived embryonic stem cells, or MESCs, have repaired brain lesions in rats, which have shown that between different species, at least with rodents, stem cells in treating Alzheimer's have been successful. Human stem cells, or human neural stem cells, have also been tried on rats with a large degree of success. So naturally, after all this progress, the next stage was for researchers to conduct human trials. So HUMSC-NCs, that's a big mouthful, which are human umbilical cord mesenchymal stem cell derived neuron-like cells, induced anti-inflammatory and other beneficial responses in Alzheimer's disease mice. These trials were eventually taken from just having human stem cells to actually be testing on humans as of 2015, when HUCB-MSCs, or human umbilical cord blood-derived mesenchymal stem cells were tested in 9 human subjects in preliminary trials in 2015. No adverse effects were given. This was a trial done for safety. So a firm known as Nature Cell is now testing AstroStem, which is their patented stem cell therapy, on 60 patients with early onset Alzheimer's disease as of 2017. And there are many other clinical trials ongoing. This just happens to be the largest of them. There is a lot of hope for the future, given this progress we have. We have the potential for a real cure for Alzheimer's disease and to save millions of lives in the long run, a happy and fulfilling aging process for many more, and to pave the way for treatment of other closely related neurodegenerative disorders like Parkinson's, disease. I know this is a development in stem cell therapy that personally means a lot to me, and it's one I was very excited to see progress on in this field. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I have appended in the back a list of sources I used. Thank you.